Welcome to Let's Talk Common Sense with me, Mike Omoniyi. This is episode 3. Episodes flying by so quickly. Well, today we've got a special guest with me in the studio, but before we get to him, let's just go through some headlines. Now, some updates on previous things we've discussed. Shamima Begum, last week we learned that her British citizenship, would be revoked by the Home Secretary Sajid Javid, and that her family would try and appeal that decision. Well, since hearing that news, a new figure dubbed Jihadi Jack has popped up, and he's saying, well, listen, if Shamima gets to come back to the UK, or if she gets to file, a challenge against the Home Secretary's decision, then surely I can do the same thing. Jihadi Jack left to join a terrorist group in Syria a few years back, and now he wants to come back. We're going to discuss what this might mean for future folks joining terrorist groups. Nigerian election updates. Buhari wins. Is that a surprise? Well, we don't know. Atiku, who is the leader of the opposition, disagrees with the result. He cries foul play, and he says he's going to take it to court. Quick aside, Buhari selected the head of the court. But there you go there. And of course, some domestic news for us. Labour, after years and months of pussyfooting, have finally decided they are going to support a second Brexit or second European Union membership referendum. Now, that's obviously going to be welcomed with some cheers from some and also great disdain from others. We're going to talk about that. Theresa May's back is really against the wall because, as you may have noticed, we're in March now, and thus the deadline for Brexit for Article 50 is coming pretty quickly. If her vote doesn't get backed, she may have to extend Article 50. And last but not least, Tommy Robinson has been banned from Facebook. Stephen Yennon-Laxley, I believe his name is, was a kind of polemical far-right figure, if you like, and he's been banned from Facebook because his language was said to be inciting violence towards Muslims and harming people. And we'll talk about whether free speech is under attack. But before we get there, I just want to speak about the second referendum thing. Like I said, some are super happy about this because obviously, they get a second vote. But I think what's happening in our democracy now, and what I want to talk common sense about, is this idea of reruns. It's that old thing that used to happen in secondary school where on the playground you do rock, paper, scissors and you lose. And you go, okay, best of 3, but you lost. You lost, and what happens with kids on the playground is they cannot take the fact that they've lost, and as such, they are willing to change the rules, bring new information out just to have a rerun, right? And this is a problem because what you tell that kid is, hey, John, you lost, okay? Come to terms with the fact that you lost. And what we're seeing with Brexit are adults who quite frankly aren't kids, who can't accept that they've lost. And my problem with the second referendum, whilst it seems like a great thing to support, is that what kind of precedent does it set for our political system if we don't accept the result of a democratic will? I don't get it. If we can have a second referendum just 3 years after the first one, remember, we only had a first one on the 23rd of June 2016, not that long ago. If we're going to have another one now, who's to say we shouldn't have a third one? I mean, some questions that I have about this referendum is, one, what's the text going to say? Yes, no, maybe? Hard deal, soft deal, medium deal? Who knows? Who knows? But we're not sure yet. What's going to happen to the future of elections? This is what's happening in Nigeria. A party lost the election, and the first thing they say is, it wasn't fair, let's do it again. That's not how democracy works. You've got to accept the will of the people. And I guess it opens up a larger point about losing. How do we learn in the political system to lose graciously? Because this is what's happening now, is that unfortunately democracy is under threat because when we don't like the result of something, we say, let's do it again. Best out of 3, best out of 5, until we get the result we want. The big issue with Britain is that we have a parliament that is Remain and a public, at least by the referendum result, that is Stay or Remain. And those things are juxtaposed. They are at odds with each other, and no one's talking about this. It's annoying. Before we move on, Jireh's in the studio. Jireh, what do you think about this?
Well, Michael, that was quite a soliloquy that you gave there. I can see that you're very, very passionate.
Yeah,
so what I think about this in regards to which topic, because you covered quite a lot there.
Okay, so what do you make of the whole second referendum thing? I mean, what do you make of? Is it harming democracy? I mean, are we gonna burn and die?
Well, I don't believe we're gonna burn and die, but I do believe that it harms democracy. Because the 23rd of June, you said 2016, still feels like a recent memory to me personally, when we went and left the European Union. And that's recent. So if we have a second referendum, like you said, what's going to be on the text? Do we have a yes, we stay in? No, we leave again, which just means we go back to square one. Because at this moment in time, it looks like Theresa May has no idea what she's doing. And even if she does know what she's doing, her cabinet and her party definitely aren't backing her, nor are the opposition parties. So the idea of a second referendum does set a dangerous precedent.
It's interesting because you are, am I allowed to say that you're an EU citizen?
I am indeed, yes.
Okay, and I remember, because we lived together in 2016 for a short period of time. Great days, of course. But I remember at the time, I was in Belgium for the vote. And I came back from Belgium on the day of the actual referendum. And I remember coming home, and you were at the top of the stairs, and you were like, Mike, they're kicking us out. You're like, they're making us leave. And I thought, oh God, what's happening? You're like, we're leaving the European Union. I've got to go home. I was like, I packed my stuff already. I'm leaving. I was like, no, Jireh, hold on. We still got 3 years, but now 3 years are over.
Yeah,
so you do have to leave. So when are you off?
Well, I'm deciding to stay. You know, I've made my life here.
Yeah.
So unless they forcefully take me away, then I'm staying.
Yeah. You sound like the song from Dreamgirls.
I wish I knew what you were talking. Oh,
you're gonna love me.
Yes, I'm staying. Definitely staying.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, this second referendum, I feel like it's all up in the air. The fact that Labour even backed this second referendum is a bit of a mystery to me, because it seemed like Jeremy Corbyn, all throughout the original campaign, didn't strongly back an actual Remain campaign.
Yeah.
He was secretly, he wanted to leave, whilst Theresa May wanted to stay. And obviously now they've switched. So I want to know what Jeremy Corbyn's motivations behind this is.
Well, might it have something to do with the independent group?
Yeah, the fact that his members are leaving to join this independent group, the fact that the anti-Semitic stain is surrounding his party, and especially him, for his disdain for Israel in itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jeremy Corbyn is a man who I find quite interesting. A lot of young people my age quite like him. I'm not quite sure on him. I feel like he can be quite pandering. Yeah. So I don't know if he's actually genuine in his intentions.
Yeah. Well, listen, that was eloquent as anyone can be. But let's find out a bit about you, because as people might be thinking, who's this guy? I mean, he doesn't sound like he's from London. You know, who is he? What does he do? Where is he from? You know, I mean, you got an air of mystery. I mean, we know you're not from the You're not from the UK. You're from the European Union. You know, that's it really. So, who are you, Jireh Antwi?
So, yeah, I'm a TCS contributor / journalist for the sports section, technology as well, sometimes science. So it's quite a wide range of topics. Mostly sports at the moment. I quite focus on football, basketball, NFL, sometimes boxing. But sports has obviously a wide range of things to cover.
Yeah.
We are obviously in the middle of quite a few different seasons.
Great win today.
Yes, for United. Yes. Very, very great win. It looks like Lukaku's actually picked himself up.
Yeah, it's play football now, right?
Yeah, taking his Timberland shoes off and decided to actually play football. Obviously, in basketball, the regular season's about to finish and the playoffs are about to start. But yeah, that's just what I do for TCS. I've written quite a few articles up
You
till
have
now.
some good ones. I mean, we've gotten lots of good feedback about your articles. They are, and I'm not just saying this because the camera's on. Like, I actually mean it. It's been really, really good. And you're not from London, like I said, so you're from Manchester.
Yeah, so there are black people in Manchester, unlike Mike mentioned on his BBC Two show. Yeah, we exist. We are diverse in Manchester.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, high schools, colleges, universities all have black people in them.
Not a lot of them. I mean, I still think you're a bit unicorn-like here. When you do see one, you're like, oh look.
Mike lives in an area that is populated with black people. Even on his street, he's lying to you, because on his street there are a few people that he.
I'll tell you what. There is one family next door who are very loud, especially 8 a.m. in the morning when they are screaming incantations. They're screaming incantations all over the gaff. And I sometimes like go outside and like, can you keep it down? Like it's 8 a.m. Why are you shouting? Kind of thing. But Manchester isn't known for being like super diverse.
Is it not?
I don't think so.
Are you sure?
You live here. Do you think it's super diverse?
I mean, in my experience, obviously going to primary school here, high school, college, and university, I can definitely say it's diverse.
How many black people were in your class?
In high school?
Yeah.
We're talking maybe 4 or 5.
But the fact that you can count is the problem. In my school, the whole class is black.
Yeah. But I went to a high school that wasn't predominantly black. So there was high schools that were predominantly black.
I see.
So if I was in such a high school, then I would be counting the non-black people in my class. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess compared to London, I mean, London is 40% non-white, so it's a pretty big,
Oh, I didn't know that was the percent. That's a large.
It's ridiculous, right? London's a melting pot of all different ethnicities, religious nationalities. So growing up in London, we grew up super multicultural, like very multicultural. I mean, don't get it twisted, 60% are still white, but a large 40% aren't. Whereas the more you go into kind of the brown belt parts of the UK, especially heartlands, as it were, the Midlands, that non-white number, it really does drop pretty dramatically. But you're a journalist for us, and like I said, you write lots of great work, and I guess it would be good to get your take on some of these issues then, especially these headlines that we're talking about. The first one is about Tommy Robinson. I want to get your take on that, because obviously we are the Common Sense Network. We like people to speak their mind. I don't think you've ever been gagged or anyone's ever said, no, Jireh, you can't put that article out. If anything, we encourage you to really speak your mind. What do you make of this whole Tommy Robinson thing? He's been banned from Facebook. It's very similar to what happened to Alex Jones.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, it happened to Alex Jones. Obviously, free speech is what we have in a Western society. But where the limits of free speech come in, obviously, are quite set in stone when it comes to regards of like hate speech and speech that results in violence. When you look at Tommy Robinson's EDR marches, they aren't the most peaceful marches.
They're not.
So if it stems from the fact that what he says is what these people feed off, and that's energizing them and mobilizing them in order to commit sometimes atrocious acts, then I guess in that sense that Facebook have a right to pull down his platform. But for the people that say that Facebook are out of order, they have to also remember that Facebook is a company. You are on their platform, so they technically have a right. See,
so I mean, this is why I probably disagree with you, because I think you're right. Facebook is a private company; they're a limited company, and for that reason, they can have policies and they get to enact it how they see fit. However, the problem with seeing Facebook and thinking of them as a company is because they are so large that they now, I think, need to be treated like a utility. The kind of way we treat, gas and electricity and Wi-Fi or broadband is like, it's something that everyone uses. For like pretty much, I mean, I think something like 4 billion people are on Facebook, which is ridiculous, right? And because a lot of people make their money from Facebook, and a lot of people have their livelihoods on Facebook, to deprive someone of essentially their virtual identity, because I think in the case of Alex Jones, what had happened was they actually, all the kind of big tech firms together erased them in one go. YouTube, iTunes, Apple, you all together just said you don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And just to give you some kind of context, what Facebook cited as their reason for getting rid of Tommy Robinson was that his page on Facebook, not his marches, but his page on Facebook contained dehumanizing language.
Dehumanizing language.
Who decides? I mean, what do you think about that?
So, what context? I guess how did they decide it was dehumanizing? That's
I don't know.
What I want to know. Because obviously, I've never been on his page because I don't know why I'd have any desire to be on his page. But what we do see is the people that go on his page and the kind of speech that those set of people talk about probably come in a dehumanizing kind of manner.
I'll give you something. Facebook also issued another a statement on the January the 24th. They said that his page included videos of bullying and that posts that labeled Muslims filthy scumbags and called for their beheading. So this is very kind of like,
this is very, very violent. Yeah,
nice
there's
language,
no
right. However, the question is, should he have been removed from the platform?
If not removed, some of his posts could have been taken down because Facebook could just do that rather than just removing his whole page. But I feel like if they did that, then Tommy Robinson would find some other sort of way or effective way to communicate his message to his followers. But yeah, the taking down posts would have been the first step rather than taking down his whole page. Because taking down his page now mobilizes his followers even more.
Of course.
Because they're thinking, it's kind of like the whole Trump scenario in America of against the media are against us, the people are against us, so we have to do more and more and more.
I guess if it feeds that kind of persecution narrative, doesn't it? We're being persecuted. The big conglomerates are out there to get us. They want to kill us. They want to silence us, gag us, so on and so forth.
Drain the swamp.
Yeah. However, what I do have a problem with though is whilst we are quick and we're very good at identifying a problematic rhetoric on the far right, I don't think we're so good at understanding or recognizing problematic rhetoric on the far left.
No, we're definitely not. I feel like the far left has a sort of power that quickly cancels people, which the right, I personally don't really see because they kind of like embrace people a bit more, even if their views are a bit
crazy people, right?
Even if their views are as wild as anything. But the left, if there's any sort of speech that's contrary to what they believe in, they quickly shut that down. They quickly shut you down. Your page might still be up on Facebook, but what you say won't garner as much attention anymore. They'll try to suffocate you with more of their, I guess, rhetoric and more of their speeches.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, I just think we got to do that thing equally. And this is what I want to see. This is what I want to see YouTube doing and Spotify doing, is being objective enough to say, okay, cool. Here's the right going too far. Calling people filthy scumbags or advocating, targeting and hurting people, inciting to violence, which is actually illegal. Here's the right going too far. But also here's the left going too far, calling for equality of outcome where people are deliberately, prevented from having something because of the color of their skin or because they're not gay or because of, like that kind of stuff. Equally is very problematic and you got to call it out on both sides. Otherwise, what happens is these tech companies, which are naturally left-leaning anyways, become essentially, really bad places where we don't actually get a chance to combat issues. Because one thing about Tommy Robinson, if we kind of extend this out, is, let's pretend, and I say pretend, it's pretty clear to see, but let's just say that, okay, he says, okay, guys, I'm right-wing, I'm super, super right-wing, and in fact, I'm dangerously right-wing. Whilst that's a great admission by him, and we can say, okay, cool, let's try and help him out. What I'm kind of concerned about are the millions, because his Facebook page had over 1 million followers apparently, of people who actually follow him, who believe in his ideas. You can't get rid of extremism by deleting an account.
No.
Those sentiments still exist in people's hearts. So the question is, how do you combat the actual ideas that these guys still have in their head, that they're walking around with? And these guys may be racist bankers, racist, police people, racist chefs. Don't know how you can be a racist chef, but as long as your food is good. And they might add too much salt when they see black people. They go, let's just add a lot of salt to this one. You know, more jalapenos. I don't know. But the idea is, how do you combat extremism?
I feel like you have to challenge their actual ideals. You kind of have to deconstruct what they think and oppose it with something not necessarily better, but something that would make more, I guess, logical sense. Obviously, in their heads, it's quite cemented and it's quite hard to do.
Yeah.
Especially in the likes of, I'm not comparing terrorism to what Tommy Robinson is doing, but
the disclaimer out there.
Yeah, disclaimer out there.
Saying, guys.
Obviously, in a terrorist's mindset, it's quite cemented, so it would be hard for us to challenge their ideas, because even if we do, it's more of a resistance thing. They're thinking, this is what you would do. I guess because we've now got echo chambers in the left, I don't think the right have realised that they also have an echo chamber where they just talk the same things back to each other. So, and the left and the right, the far left and the far right, would never really come to the middle to talk. So it's the people who are really in the middle who can see what both sides are saying, not necessarily understand what they're saying, but they hear what both sides are saying, and using that information to counteract dangerous precedents that they're setting or dangerous ideas that they're setting. That's what I think.
Yeah. I mean, how do you do? Have you ever met somebody or had a chat with someone who you thought, hey, this guy is dangerously right wing or dangerously left wing?
Dangerously left wing. Since I went to university, I would see a lot of dangerously left wing.
And how did you deal with them?
You would only have to just walk through a student union to see how left leaning everything is. How do I deal with them?
Yeah.
I generally don't. I guess you just have to.
Are you admitting to staying in your echo chamber?
It's not I'm staying in my echo chamber. I just have to embrace what's around me, try to understand what's around me. It's easy to shut yourself down and shut yourself off, but when you try to understand where people are coming from or what position they're standing in, it's easier to, I'm not necessarily be friendly with them, but when you engage in conversations, people tend to open up a bit more. Because obviously as a black man myself, I could allow someone to just have stereotypes or preconceived notions about me, but once they meet me and once they talk to me, they'll be like, oh, you're just like me. But if they're always just going to see me in the media or hear about people like me in the media, then it becomes like what I know of what I see, not what I know from personal experience.
Got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, these things are really important. That's why we exist, isn't it? Is to try and help people out of these echo chambers and get people talking to each other, you know, and really, I guess, making an attempt to understand the other side. I think that's such an important thing, and something that is unfortunately missing from contemporary politics is a real attempt to just say, what does the other side think? Because this is what I try to do. And I'm in no way trying to defend Tommy Robinson. I don't even know him too tough, right? I'm aware of his work. I've seen his work. I'm not a fan, but I've seen his work. You know, but one thing I do know about him is he feels, and this is just from an interview verbatim, he said he feels as though British people aren't allowed to be patriotic. You know, and some people might say rightly so. But for him, he says, this person who loves this country, who is born here, who's bred here, who, you know, and he sees other countries kind of beating their chest and saying, I love my country. And it's kind of, you know, it's celebrated as, oh, look at them. You know, they love America. When you do in the UK, if you walk past a house in the UK and you see a British flag on the lawn, you don't go, oh, patriotic. You go, oh, idiot.
For me, it's more when I see an England flag rather than UK British flags.
Even England one, you don't go, oh, look at them, they love their country.
You're either thinking, is the World Cup on? Is there a football match? And if there isn't, then it's like, oh, what's going on here?
Oh, you don't kick your ball into their garden. it will be pop. Excuse me, sir, can we have our ball back? What ball?
It was never here.
But let's get your thoughts on some hot takes then. And this is popular culture, because obviously, like, we're super down with the
Excuse
kids.
me. Oh wow.
So
okay.
I'm joking. I'll get some of your hot takes on some stuff that's kind of like transpired over the last few days. Okay. One is these two people who have surfaced online, two men alleging Michael Jackson of abusing them. Have you seen this online?
I've heard of it, not online.
Yeah.
I've seen certain articles when you're just doing Google searches, and when you're on like news websites, it would come up. Are these men actually credible in what they say?
Well, they actually swore under oath in another kind of trial he had that he didn't touch them. And they gave an interview to Victoria Derbyshire, who, as you know, I was speaking to her a couple of days ago. They gave an interview to her, saying that he abused them hundreds of times, and this ranged from oral sex to touching to groping to things of that nature.
Wow. He is not here to defend himself, obviously, because he's passed away. Rest in peace, Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
What these guys are saying, obviously we've always had allegations surrounding Michael Jackson around his Wonderland, or was it Neverland?
It's a Wonderland experience, right?
Yeah, having monkeys, having rides.
The irony of saying like Wonderland experience. How much is it, Michael? It's free.
Whoa.
Just come right now. Oh no, I won't be coming. No, Mike.
Yeah, so these two guys have come out online and made allegations against him.
Yeah.
Obviously, they swore under oath. So if that was the case, that means they lied in the first place.
Absolutely.
And if they've lied in the first place, then why should we believe them this time round? Yeah. I say we hear them out and we continue to do so. If we find something that doesn't fit quite right, then we will challenge that. But to put it in the courts and to put it out there in the public, to tarnish a dead man's name even more that can't defend himself, is quite worrying, because if that's the case, then we could just do that for
lots of people.
Second
take is about Sacramento police officers who fatally shot Stephen Clark in America have been cleared of all charges. They won't be facing charges at all. What do you think about this?
One bad apple spoils the bunch, but it seems like there's a lot of bad apples in the police departments in America. They all seem to stick.
Like that, wouldn't it?
They all seem to stick together, all covering for each other, which to me highlights an even bigger problem, because they're complacent in their job. And if they're complacent in their job, that means they're not doing their job properly. And if that's the case, then why should people who are meant to protect us and who are meant to stop crime from happening, committing actual crimes against everyday civilians? It seems like the gun culture in America, that's a whole different topic, but it's completely out of control. Police officers just seem to be out of control.
Yes.
It's like they're running like an actual gang rather than...
Well, they say that the biggest gang in America is actually
police officers,
And when I hear that, I kind of shudder a bit, because I think, well, it seems like these guys do something, whether it's against the law or not, doesn't seem to matter. They always get away with it, which is...
And even if they get some sort of punishment, once the media has died down, they just bring them back in.
Okay, cool. Quote. Now, one sentences now, yeah? So I'm going to tell you, Harry Kane scores today his 9th derby goal. What do you think?
All right. It was all right.
Not a fan, are you?
I mean, Harry Kane's a good footballer. Obviously, he's one of the best strikers in the world. I don't believe he possesses that sauce that you want in your striker.
Yeah.
And by sauce, I mean like the X factor, like the je ne sais quoi that you want. But they drew. It seems like since Harry Kane has come back from his injury, which has been miraculously quick, Tottenham have kept drawing, so maybe he might be a possible problem.
That wasn't one sentence, but
I know, but
and that's
you got
all
me
we've
going.
got time for, Jireh. I really wanted to carry on, but you were a great guest, and I know you're definitely coming back. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
No, thanks for coming on. And you can read all of Jireh's articles and commentary on the Common Sense Network website. That's tcsnetwork.co.uk. And if you'd like to get involved with this conversation, the hashtag is #Let's Talk Common Sense. And you can find us on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, everywhere, TCS Network. What we are trying to do is start a common sense revolution where we get people more objective, thinking about stories more thoughtfully, but also stepping out of their echo chamber. It's a really bad place to be. So I hope this week you will find someone who you disagree with and say, hey, you. Yeah, I disagree with you. Let's grab coffee and talk about why we disagree. That's your lot, guys. Have a great week.